Thereafter he went to the same place where he had left Agnistali, and there he saw that from the womb of a Sami tree had come an asvata tree. Pururava made 2 sticks from this tree and thus produced a fire. By such fire one can satisfy all lusty desires. The fire was considered the son of Pururava. In Satyayuga, there was only one social division called Hamsa. There were no divisions of Varna like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. The Veda was the Omkara. The various demigods were not worshipped, for only the Supreme Personality of Godhead was the worshipable deity. One second. Okay, so chapter 14, text number 1. Shri Sukadev and Shri Sukha Uvasha. Srila Sukadev Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, O king, thus far you have heard the description of the dynasty of the sun god. Now hear the most glorious and purifying description of the dynasty of the moon god. This description mentions kings like Aila or Pururava, of whom it is glorious to hear. Very good. Text 2. Lord Vishnu, or Garbhodakshay Vishnu, is also known as Sahasra Shirsa Purusha. From the lake of his navel sprang a lotus, on which Lord Brahma was generated. Atri, the son of Lord Brahma, was as qualified as his father. Text 3. From Atri's tears of jubilation was born a son named Soma, the moon, who was full of soothing rays. Lord Brahma appointed him the director of the Brahmanas, drugs, and luminaries. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. According to the Vedic description, Soma, the moon god, was born from the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chandrama, Manaso Jata. But here we find that Soma was born from the tears in the eyes of Atri. This appears contradictory to the Vedic information, but actually it is not, for this birth of the moon is understood to have taken place in another millennium. Wow. When tears appear in the eyes because of jubilation, the tears are soothing. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura says, Drik ya anandasrubhya ate evan ritan maya. Here the word Drigvaya means from tears of jubilation. Therefore, the moon god is called Amrita Maya, full of soothing rays. in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4.1.15, we find this verse. Atre patni anasuya trin jajne suya sasa sutam datam durvas asas sam somam atmesha brahma sambhavan. This verse describes the Anasuya. This verse describes that Anasuya, the wife of Atri Rishi, bore three sons, Soba, Durvasa, and Dattatreya. It is said that at the time of conception, Anasuya was impregnated by the tears of Adri. Text number 4. After conquering the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems, Soma, the moon god, performed a great sacrifice known as the Rajasuya Yajna. Because he was very much puffed up, he forcibly kidnapped Brihaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. Wow. Text number 5. Yadasa Deva Guruna Yachito Diksha Naso Matmadat. Not not Yaj At Tat Pite Jajne Sura Danava Vigraha. Although requested again and again by Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, Soma did not return Tara. This was due to his false pride. Consequently, a fight ensued between the demigods and the demons. Text number 6. Because of enmity between Brihaspati and Sukra, Sukra took the side of the moon god and was joined by the demons. But Lord Shiva, because of affection for the son of his spiritual master, joined the side of Brihaspati and was accompanied by all the ghosts and hobgoblins. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The moon god is one of the demigods, but to fight against the other demigods, he took the assistance of the demons. Sukra, being an enemy of Brihaspati, also joined the moon god to retaliate in wrath against Brihaspati. To counteract this situation, Lord Shiva, who was affectionate toward Brihaspati, joined Brihaspati. The father of Brihaspati was Angita, from whom Lord Shiva had received knowledge. Therefore, Lord Shiva had some affection for Brihaspati and joined his side in this fight. Sridhara Swami remarks, Angirasa sak asat prapta vidyo hara iti prasiddha. Lord Shiva is well known to have received knowledge from Angira. Text 7. King Indra, accompanied by all kinds of demigods, joined the side of Brihaspati. Thus there was a great fight, destroying both demons and demigods, only for the sake of Tara, Brihaspati's wife. Text 8. When Lord Rama was fully informed by Angira about the entire incident, he severely chastised the moon god, Soma. Thus, Lord Rama delivered Tara to her husband, who could then understand that she was pregnant. Wow. Text 9. Brihaspati said, "You foolish woman, your womb, which was meant for me to impregnate, has been impregnated by someone other than me. Immediately deliver your child. Immediately deliver it. Be assured that after the child is delivered, I shall not burn you to ashes. I know that although you are unchaste, you wanted a son. Therefore, I shall not punish you." Okay. Purport. Tara was married to Brihaspati, and therefore, as a chaste woman, she should have been impregnated by him. But instead, she preferred to be impregnated by Soma, the moon god, and therefore she was unchaste. Although Brihaspati accepted Tara from Brahma, when he saw that she was pregnant, he wanted her to deliver a son immediately. Tara certainly very much feared her husband, and she thought she might be punished after giving birth. Thus, Brihaspati assured her that he would not punish her, for although she was unchaste and had become pregnant illicitly, she wanted a son. Text number 10. Sukadeva Goswami continued, by Brihaspati's order, Tara, who was very much ashamed, immediately gave birth to the child, who was very beautiful, with golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god, Soma, desired the beautiful child. Text 11. Fighting again broke out between Brihaspati and the moon god, both of whom claimed, "This is my child, not yours." All the saints and demigods present asked Tara whose child the newborn baby actually was. But because she was ashamed, she could not immediately answer. Text number 12. The child then became very angry and demanded that his mother immediately tell the truth. "You unchaste woman," he said, "what is the use of your unnecessary shame? Why do you not admit your fault? Immediately tell me about your faulty behavior." Text 13. Lord Brahma then brought Tara to a secluded place, and after pacifying her, he asked to whom the child actually belonged. She replied very slowly, "This is the son of Soma, the moon god." Then the moon god immediately took charge of the child. Text 14. O Maharaj Parikshit, when Lord Brahma saw that the child was deeply intelligent, he gave the child to the name Buddha. The moon god, the ruler of the stars, enjoyed great jubilation because of this son. Text 15 and 16. Thereafter, from Buddha, through the womb of Ela, a son was born, named Pururava, who was described in the beginning of the ninth canto. When his beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth, and power were described by Narada in the court of Lord Indra, the celestial woman Urvasi was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrow of Cupid, she thus approached him. Text 17 and 18. Having been cursed by Mitra and Varuna, the celestial woman Urvasi had acquired the habits of a woman, of a human being. Therefore, upon seeing pururava, the best of males, whose beauty resembled that of a cupid, she controlled herself and then approached him. When King Pururava saw Urvasi, his eyes became jubilant in the ecstasy of joy, and the hairs on his body stood on end. With mild, pleasing words, he spoke to her as follows. King Pururava said, O most beautiful woman, you are welcome. Please sit here and tell me what I can do for you. You may enjoy with me as long as you desire. Let us pass our life happily in a sexual relationship. Oh boy. Text 20. Urbasi replied, O most handsome man, who is the woman whose mind and sight would not be attracted by you? If a woman takes shelter of your chest, she cannot refuse to enjoy with you in a sexual relationship. Purport. When a beautiful man and a beautiful woman unite together and embrace one another, how within these three worlds can they check their sexual relationship? Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45 says, Yan mai tunadi vihamedi sukam hi tucham. Text 21. My dear King Pururava, please give protection to these two lambs who have fallen down with me. Although I belong to the heavenly planets and you belong to Earth, I shall certainly enjoy sexual union with you. I have no objection to accepting you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5.40, Yasya Prabha Prabhavata Prabhavato Jagat Anda Koti Kotis Vasesha Vasudadhi Vibhuti Binam. There are various planets and various atmospheres within this universe. The atmosphere of the heavenly planet from which Urvasi descended, after being cursed by Mitra and Varuna, was different from the atmosphere of this earth. Indeed, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets are certainly far superior to the inhabitants of Earth. Nonetheless, Urvasi agreed to remain the consort of Pururava. although she belonged to a superior community. A woman who finds a man with superior qualities may accept such a man as her husband. Similarly, if a man finds a woman who is, who is from an inferior family, but who has good qualities, he can accept such a brilliant wife. As advised by Sri Chanakya Pandita, Sri Ratnam Dus Kulad Api. The combination of male and female is worthwhile if the qualities of both are on an equal level. Text number 22. Urvasi said, my dear hero, only preparations made in ghee, clarified butter, will be my eatables, and I shall not want to see you naked at any time, except at the time of sexual intercourse. The great-minded king Pururava accepted these proposals. Well, yeah, let's hope he can maintain it. Text 23. Pururava replied, O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful, and your gestures are also wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It appears from the words of Urvasi that the standard of living, eating, behavior, and speech are all different on the heavenly planets. From the standards on this planet Earth, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets do not eat such abominable things as meat and eggs. Everything they eat is prepared in clarified butter, nor do they like to see either men or women naked, except at the time of sexual intercourse. To live naked, or almost naked, in uncivilized, to live naked or almost naked is uncivilized. But on this planet Earth, it has now become fashionable to dress half naked, and sometimes those like hippies live completely naked. Indeed, there are many clubs and societies for this purpose. Such conduct is not allowed, however, on the heavenly planets. The inhabitants of the heavenly planets, aside from being very beautiful, both in complexion and bodily features, are well behaved and long living, and they eat first class food in goodness. These are some of the distinctions between the inhabitants of the heavenly planets and the inhabitants of Earth. Text 24. Sukadeva Goswami continued. The best of human beings, Pururava, began freely enjoying the company of Urvasi, who engaged in sexual activities with him in many celestial places, such as Chaitrarata and Nandana Kanana, where the demigods enjoy. Text 25. Urvasi's body was as fragrant as the saffron of a lotus. Being enlivened by the fragrance of her face and body, Pururava enjoyed her company for many days with great jubilation. Text 26. Not seeing Urvasi in his assembly, the king of heaven, Lord Indra, said, "Without Urvasi, my assembly is no longer beautiful." Considering this, he requested the Gandharvas to bring her back to his heavenly planets. Thus, the Gandharvas came to earth, and at midnight, when everything was dark, they appeared in the house of pururava and stole the two lambs entrusted to the king by his wife Urvasi. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The dead of night refers to midnight. The Mahanisha, excuse me, the dead of night, the dead of night refers to midnight. The Mahanisha is described in this Smriti mantra. Mahanisha dve gatike ratrer madhyama yamayo. 12 o'clock midnight is called the dead of night. Text 28. Urvasi treated the two lambs like her own sons. Therefore, when they were being taken by the Gandharvas and began crying, Urvasi heard them and rebuked her husband. "Now I am being killed," she said, "under the protection of an unworthy husband, who is a coward and is a eunuch, although he thinks himself a great hero." Eunuchs in history were not viral. They didn't have sexual, let's say, prowess. Text 29. Because I depended on him, the plunderers have deprived me of my two sons, the lambs, and therefore I am now lost. My husband lies down at night in fear, exactly like a woman, although he appears to be a man during the day. Text 30. Pururava, stricken by the sharp words of Urvasi, like an elephant struck by his driver's pointed rod, became very angry, not even dressing himself properly. He took a sword in hand and went out naked into the night to follow the Gandharvas who had stolen the lambs. Excuse me. After giving up the two lambs, the Gandharvas shone brightly like lightning, thus illuminating the house of Pururava. Urvasi then saw her husband returning with the lambs in hand. Excuse me. But he was naked, and therefore she left. Yes, she made an arrangement that she should never see her husband naked, and but now she is seeing him naked, so she therefore leaves the company of her husband. No longer seeing Urvasi on his bed, Pururava was most aggrieved. Because of his great attraction for her, he was very much disturbed. Thus, lamenting, He began traveling about the earth like a madman. Yeah. Well, uh, Urvasi had said, "Look, you can be with me, but I never want to see you naked. Um, and if you do walk around naked, I'm going to leave you." So that's what's happening here. Once during his travels all over the world, pururava saw Urvasi accompanied by 5 companions on the bank of the Saraswati at Kurukshetra. With jubilation in his face, he then spoke to her in sweet words as follows: "Oh, my dear wife, oh, most cruel one, kindly stay, kindly stay. I know that, I know that I have never made you happy until now, but you should not give me up for that reason. This is not proper for you. Even if you have decided to give up my company, let us nonetheless talk for some time." Text 35. O goddess, now that you have refused me, my beautiful body will fall down here. And because it is unsuitable for your pleasure, it will be eaten by foxes and vultures. Text 36. Urvasi said, "My dear king, you are a man, a hero. Don't be impatient and give up your life. Be sober and don't allow the senses to overcome you like foxes. Don't let the foxes eat you. In other words, you should not be controlled by your senses. Rather, you should know that the heart of a woman is like that of a fox. There is no use making friendship with women." Whoa, what a statement that is. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Chanakya Pandit has advised, "Visvaso naiva kartavya stri su raja kuleshu cha." Never place your faith in a woman of a or a politician. Unless elevated to spiritual consciousness, everyone is conditioned and fallen. What to speak of women who are less intelligent than men? Women have been compared to Sudras and Vaishyas, Striya Vaishyas Tata Sudra. On the spiritual platform, however, when one is elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness, whether one is a man, whether one is a man, woman, Sudra, or whatever, everyone is equal. Otherwise, Urvasi, who was a woman herself, and who knew that the nature of women, said that a woman's heart is like that of a sly fox. If a man cannot control his senses, he becomes a victim of such sly foxes. But if one can control the senses, there is no chance of his being victimized by sly fox-like women. Chanakya Pandita has also advised that if one has a wife like a sly fox, he must immediately give up his life at home and go to the forest. Krishna consciousness grihastas must be very careful if the sly fox woman, of the sly fox woman. If the wife at home is obedient and follows her husband in Krishna consciousness, the home is welcome. Otherwise, one should give up one's home and go to the forest. Hitva hitva ma vatam griham andakupam vanam gato yadarim ashrayeta. One should go to the forest and take shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of God. Oh, that's good advice. Text 37. Women as a class are merciless and cunning. They cannot tolerate even a slight offense. For their own pleasure, they can do anything irreligious, and therefore they do not fear killing even a faithful husband or brother. Wow, oh, what a verse that is. I hope everyone's listening to this carefully. Report. King Pururava was greatly attached to urvasi. Well, see now, this is uh, explaining what happens when you get attached to a woman who is not, uh, uh, let's say, dedicated to being Krishna conscious. It can ruin one's life. But if there is a woman who is completely chaste and has always been protected by either her father or her husband, then such a woman is considered to be a chaste woman. Okay, so here it says King Pururava was greatly attached to Urvasi, yet, despite his faithfulness to her, she had left him. Now, considering that the king was wasting his rarely achieved human form of life, Urvasi frankly explained the nature of a woman. Okay, my dear devotees, now you're going to hear the truth. Because of her nature, a woman can respond to even a slight offense from her husband by not only leaving him, but even killing him if required. To say nothing of her husband, she can even kill her brother. That is a woman's nature. Therefore, in the material world, unless women are trained to be chaste and faithful to their husbands, there cannot be peace or prosperity in society. Well, does that mean that, all women are bad and all men are like angels? No, not really. Men can be just as bad as wanton women. So the only solution here is to become a devotee, whether you're a man or a woman, and follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, giving up illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and so forth, and take up serious practice of Krishna consciousness. Then women are not bad, and men are not bad. But if women become attached to sense gratification and men become attached to sense gratification, both become fallen and abominable. Text 38. Women are very easily seduced by men. Therefore, polluted women give up the friendship of a man who is their well wisher and establish false friendship among fools. Indeed, they seek newer and newer friends, one after another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because women are easily seduced, the Manu Samhita enjoins that they should not be given freedom. A woman must always be protected, either by her father, by her husband, or by her elderly son. If a woman, if women are given freedom to mingle with men like equals, which they now claim to be, they cannot keep their propriety. The nature of a woman, as personally described by Urvasi, is to establish false friendship with someone and then seek new male companions one after another, even if this means giving up the company of a sincere well wisher. Text 39. Oh, my dear king, you will be able to enjoy with me as my husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children, one after another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Although Urvasi had adversely explained the nature of women, although Urvasi had adversely explained the nature of women, Maharaj Pururava was very much attached to her, and therefore she wanted to give the king some concession by agreeing to be his wife for one night at the end of each year. Oh. Text 40. Understanding that Urvasi was pregnant, pururava returned to his palace. At the end of the year, there at Kurukshetra, he again obtained the association of Urvasi, who was then the mother of a heroic son. Text 41. Having regained Urvasi at the end of the year, King Pururava was most jubilant, and he enjoyed her company in sex for one night. But then he was very sorry at the thought of separation from her. So Urvasi spoke to him as follows. Okay, now this is going to sober up uh, King Pururava. His wife is going to sober him up. Text 42. Urvasi said, my dear king, seeking shelter of the Gandharvas, for they will be able to deliver me to you again. In accordance with these words, the king satisfied the Gandharvas by prayers, and the Gandharvas, being pleased with him, gave him an Agnisthali girl who looked exactly like Urvasi. Thinking that the girl was Urvasi, the king began walking with her in the forest. But later he could understand that she was not Urvasi, but Agnisthali. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Pururava was very lusty. Immediately after getting the Agnisthali girl, he wanted to have sex with her. But during sexual intercourse, he could understand that the girl was Agnisthali, not Urvasi. This indicates that every man attached to a particular woman knows the particular characteristics of that woman during sex life. Thus, pururava understood during sexual intercourse that the Agnistali girl was not urvasi. Text 43. O King Pururava then left Agnistali in the forest and returned home, where he meditated all night upon urvasi. In the course of his meditation, the Treta millennium began, and therefore the principles of the three Vedas, including the process of performing yajna to fulfill fruitive activities, appeared within his heart. Oh my God. It never ends. Purport. It is said, Treta yam yajato makali in Treta Yuga, if one performed yajnas, he would get the results of those yajnas by performing Vishnu yajna. Specifically, one could even achieve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, yajna is intended to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while Pururava was meditating upon urvasi. The Treta Yuga began, and therefore the Vedic yajnas were revealed in his heart. But Pururava was a materialistic man, especially interested in enjoying the senses. Yajnas for enjoyment of the senses are called karma kandiya yajnas. Therefore, he decided to perform the karma kandiya yajnas to fulfill his lusty desires. In other words, karma kandiya yajnas are meant for sensuous persons, whereas yajna should actually be performed to please the Supreme Personality of God. To please the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Kali Yuga, the Sankirtana Yajna is recommended. Yajnai Sankirtana Purar Yajanti Hi Su Vedasaha. Only those who are very intelligent take the Sankirtan Yajna to fulfill to fulfill all their desires, material and spiritual. Whereas those who are lusty for sense enjoyment perform karma kandiya yajnas. Text 44 and 45. When the process of fruitive yajna became manifest within his heart, King Pururava went to the same spot where he had left Agnistali. There, he saw that from the womb of a sami tree, an aswatha tree had grown. He then took a piece of wood from that tree and made it into two aranis. Desiring to go to the planet where Urvasi resided, he chanted mantras, meditating upon the lower Arani as Urvasi. The upper one as himself, and the piece of wood between them as his son. In this way, he began to ignite a fire. Purport by his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Vedic fire for performing yajnas was not ignited with ordinary matches or similar devices. Rather, the Vedic sacrificial fire was ignited by the aranis, or two sacred pieces of wood, which produced fire by friction with a third. Such a fire is necessary for the performance of yajna. If successful, a yajna will fulfill the desire of its performer. Thus, Pururava took the advantage of the process of yajna to fulfill his lusty desires. He thought of the lower Arani as urvasi, the upper one as himself, and the middle one as his son. A relevant Vedic mantra quoted herein by Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura is Sami Garbad Agnim Manta. A similar mantra is Urvasyam, Urasi, pururava. Pururava wanted to have children continuously by the womb of Urvasi. His only ambition was to have sex with Urvasi and thereby get a son. In other words, he had so much lust in his heart that even while performing yajna, he thought of Urvasi instead of thinking of the master of yajna, Yajnesvara, Lord Vishnu. So he's like completely overwhelmed by Urvasi. He can't get her let's say her meditation out of his mind. Text number 46. From Pururava's rubbing of the Aranins came a fire. By such a fire, one can achieve all success in material enjoyment and be purified. In seminal birth, initiation, and in the performance of sacrifice, which are involved with the combined letters Aum. Thus, the fire was considered the son of King Pururava. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. According to the Vedic process, one can get a son through semen or sukra. One can get a bona fide disciple through initiation, savitra. Or one can get a son or disciple through the fire of sacrifice, yajna. Thus, when Maharaja Pururava generated the fire by rubbing the Aranis, the fire became his son. Either by semen, by initiation, or by yajna, one may get a son. The Vedic mantra Omkara or Pranava, consisting of the letters Aum, can call each of these three methods into existence. Therefore, the words Nirman Naj excuse me. Therefore, the words Nirmantanaj Jata indicate that by the rubbing of the Aranis, a son was born. Text 47, and I think we'll end up with that verse. By means of the fire of that fire, Pururava, who desired to go to the planet where Urvasi resided, performed a sacrifice by which he satisfied the Supreme Personality of God. Oh, well, now he's making some spiritual advancement. Lord Hari, the enjoyer of the results of sacrifice. Thus, he worshipped the Lord who is beyond the perception of the senses and is the reservoir of all demigods. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Any loka or planet which one wants to go to is the propriety or is the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the enjoyer of the performance of sacrifice. The purpose of yajna is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age, as we have explained many times, the yajna of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is satisfied. One can fulfill any desire, material or spiritual. Bhagavad Gita 3.14 also says, Yajnat bhavati parjanya. By offering sacrifices to Lord Vishnu, one can have sufficient rainfall. When there is sufficient rainfall, the earth becomes fit to produce everything. Sarva kama dugda mani. If one can utilize the land properly, one can get all the necessities of life from the land, including food grains, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. Everything one gets for material wealth is produced from the earth, and therefore it is said, Sarva Kama Dugha Mahi. Bhagavatam 1.10.4. Everything is possible by performing yajna. Therefore, although Pururava desired something material, he factually performed yajna to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is Ahosaja, beyond the perception of Pururava and everyone else. Consequently, some kind of yajna must be performed to fulfill the desire of the living entity. Yajnas can be performed in human society only when society is divided by Varnashram Dharma into 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams. Without such a regulative process, no one can perform yajnas, and without the performance of yajnas, no material plans can make human society happy at any time. Everyone should therefore be induced to perform yajnas in this age of Kali. The yajna recommended is, guess what? Sankirtan, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Okay, I think we'll stop right there, but it's important to know some things here. That is, even today, there are places on the earth or countries that are having difficulty having enough water and suffering. That's only because such places, there are people who are engaged in illicit activities. But if one follows the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, and especially performing Sankirtan Yajna, they will not have such terrible situations where there's not enough water or where there's very bad weather all the time, etc. So we have to understand that the behavior of people will uh, influence the weather. When people are acting properly and engaging in devotional service, there will be good weather and peace and prosperity. And when people are engaging in illicit sex, fighting, killing, and doing all kinds of killing animals, eating the animals, there's going to be a lot of misery and a lot of nonsense going on. So it all depends on the behavior of the people. Therefore, it says here that everyone should therefore be induced to perform yajnas in this age of Kali. The yajna recommended is Sankirtana, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. There it is. You don't have to go farther than this statement. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. What is that? Performance of Sankirtana Yajna. That should be what we should focus our mind on and our activities. Every day, chanting our rounds, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, 16 good rounds minimum, but obviously there's no maximum. And eating only Krishna Prasada, vegetarian food with no garlic and onion, offered with love and devotion to the Lord, and then uh, take the sanctified food and eat it for our sustenance. We will have a lot of peace and prosperity in this world, and people can live peacefully without all the nonsense that goes on when there are sinful activities performed. Unfortunately, people are not educated, and therefore they engage in these sinful activities, and unnecessarily they suffer. It's only devotees who follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness who can actually have a peaceful life. And not only that, who can help others to give up sinful activities and take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Serious practice of Krishna consciousness will solve all problems of life. That should be our culture. Chanting, dancing, and feasting and glorifying Lord Krishna and the Vaishnava acharyas. Then we will have peace and prosperity without any artificial activities. Okay, so that therefore it says here, just to confirm what we're saying, is it says without such regulative process, No one can perform yajnas. And without the performance of yajnas, no material plans can make human society happy at any time. Everyone, therefore, be should everyone should therefore be induced to perform yajnas. In this age of Kali, the yajna recommended is Sankirtan, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. There it is, my dear devotees, the holy statements that yajna in this age is recommended to be Sankirtana yajna, and the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. You don't have to go past this. You don't have to do anything more than do what Srila Prabhupada has taught us to do. Chant Hare Krishna 16 good rounds every day. Eat only Krishna Prasadam and engage in Harinam Sankirtana. This is the Yuga Dharma of this age, the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, it says here, in this age of Kali, the yajna recommended is Sankirtana, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. I hope you're hearing this and take it seriously. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, every day. And in that way, this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. I rest my my I rest my case on this point that the yajna recommended in this age is Sankirtana yajna, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Why can't people understand this? It's like very simple and very practical and will solve all the problems of human society. But no, people ignore all this and ruin their lives and make other people miserable also. So we have to be very careful to strictly follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness and regularly, every day, perform Harinam Sankirtana. This is the only yajna that can be correctly performed. All other yajnas are useless in this age. It's only the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and this chanting of the Mahamantra will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and be happy and prosperous and free from doubt. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevalam. Kalu Nasteva, 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 Katirandita. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way than chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in this age of Kali. That is, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the recommended way to make spiritual advancement in this age of Kali Yuga. If we understand this, and we do, Harinam Sankirtan every day, all the problems of life will go away and we'll be able to live peacefully and continue to make spiritual advancement by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All glory to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I think we'll stop right there with the holy name, the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments? Questions or comments? Our takeaway for today is the following. And it says, Bhaktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Any loka or planet to which one wants to go is the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the enjoyer of the performance of sacrifice. The purpose of yajna is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age, we have explained many times, the yajna of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the only sacrifice. There it is. The only sacrifice that one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, one can fulfill any desire, material or spiritual. Bhagavad Gita 3.14 also says, Yajnat Bhavati Parjanya, by offering sacrifices to Lord Vishnu, one can have sufficient rainfall. So many areas of the earth today are having insufficient rain. That is because they are committing sinful activities, eating meat, killing animals, and eating them. Very sinful, very, very sinful. But yet people go along merrily, performing all kinds of sinful activities and thinking that they're making progress of humanity. Actually, instead of making progress, they're going deeper into the state of sin. And because of that, they're unnecessarily suffering. Because the gurus, the so-called gurus of this age, are no longer bona fide. They're nonsense. Like, for example, if you go to a Muslim pundit, they will eat meat. They will kill animals. In fact, at certain times of the year, they will kill hundreds and thousands of animals, thinking that the more animals they kill, the more God is pleased. That shows how ignorant people are. So, therefore, It's a great benediction to follow the instruction of genuine devotees. And the most genuine devotee that we know is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Did Prabhupada eat meat? No. Did Prabhupada kill animals? No. Did Prabhupada engage in illicit sex? No. Then what did Prabhupada do? He chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he always talked about Krishna and how to please Krishna and how to become a genuine devotee, giving up all sinful activity and engaging in yajna. Therefore, the instruction of Srila Prabhupada has saved thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in this Kali Yuga. And it's going on. So therefore, if we simply follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions, we will never be misled and we'll be blessed. And Prabhupada will help us to make genuine spiritual advancement. And everything becomes easy at that point because we've given up sinful activities. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear devotees. Are there any questions or comments anyone would like to make? So, our takeaway for today is the following. Yajnas can be performed in human society only when society is divided by Varnashram Dharma into 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams. Without such a regulated process, no one can perform yajnas, and without the performance of yajnas, no material plans can make human society happy at any time. Everyone should therefore be induced to perform yajna. In this age, now this is the main statement, in this age of Kali, the yajna recommended is Sankirtana yajna, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This will bring for the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. That is our takeaway for today and forever. Chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This yajna of chanting the Sankirtan yajna, and meaning chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is the solution to all humankind who want to have a peaceful and happy life. You must chant the holy names of the Lord every day and keep the name of the Lord on your lips all day long and all night long. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Yeah, so therefore it says, therefore, yajnas can be performed in human society only when society is divided by Varnashrama Dharma into 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrama. Without such a regulative process, no one can perform yajna. And without the performance of yajna, no material plans can make the human society happy at any time. Everyone should therefore be induced to perform yajnas. In this age of Kali, the yajna recommended is Sankirtana, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for humanity. So therefore, don't be misled. You don't have to do a whole different types of yajnas. There's only one yajna that can be done correctly in Kali Yuga. That is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, it says the yajna recommended is Sankirtana, the individual or collective chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. So whatever has been said, uh, doing this yajna, doing that yajna, but actually there's only one yajna in Kali Yuga. That's the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Sankirtana Yajna. And this Sankirtana Yajna, either individually or collectively done, is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. That is our takeaway for today. There's only one thing that we have to do, and that is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This will bring the fulfillment of all necessities for human society. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, we'll stop right there unless there are any questions. If not, guess what we're going to do? We're going to start chanting Hare Krishna. See how nice this Hare Krishna movement is. All you have to do is chant Hare Krishna and all problems go away. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
And this was given to us. In this age, because it's very difficult to live in this age of Kali Yuga. Because it's so difficult, Krishna has made it very easy for us to make tangible spiritual progress so that we can go back to Godhead. Simply chant Hare Krishna and follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Hare Bol. Okay, all glories to Prabhupada.
EJ.
We will stop right there and continue.